What's going on? Welcome back. Ryan here. Super excited because in this video, we're talking a little bit about my background and let's just get into it. So again, my name is Ryan Matthes. I was born and raised in Santa Monica, California. I'm 35 years old and I was raised by a single mother. Now, I'm super fortunate that my mother's parents, my grandparents, were super amazing. I spent so much time with them. And when I was really young, they always, instilled saving and investing. They were avid stock market investors, right? They were buy and hold investors. They bought stocks, they bought bonds, they bought mutual funds, ETFs, right? They bought dividends and blue chips, and they just kept buying and kept holding, and that's how they did it. And those were some of the earliest experiences I have of, my first exposure into the markets. Now, I was also very fortunate, right? Because when I would go visit my grandparents, I would always play poker with them, right? We always played card games, and we always had a great time with card games. Now, fast forward from, when I was really young and all of these experiences started happening. When I was 18 years old, I started playing poker, going to different Indian casinos around LA. And at the same time, I was continuing to trade and I started learning about derivatives and options. And I had a guy that I found who I paid some money to kind of help me understand it and kind of get me started on that options trading path. Now, I graduated high school early. I went to a couple high schools. I was kind of a problem child. I was always getting into trouble. And I ended up graduating high school a year early. So when I graduated high school, right, I had experience with trading and investing from my grandparents. I also loved poker. And I decided to just hang around LA, Santa Monica, and go to SMC, right, Santa Monica College, where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to, finish my schooling in. And at the time when I was going to school, right, I was playing poker. I was, this was right when the online poker boom started to happen too, right? So I was playing in Indian casinos. I was playing online poker. I was also trading and learning about options while I was going to school. Okay. Now, fast forward into my early 30s, right? I'm 35 now. So in my early 30s, I got back in to options trading a lot. And the reason why I got back into it was because in the beginning when I first started, even though I had this guy teach me his little method and what he was doing, that education that I learned was really, really limited. I really did not know much, right? And I ended up blowing my $10,000 account that I started with. And it was probably the best thing that happened, right? Because blowing that account really pissed me off, right? I like winning, I like games, I like competition, but it really irritated me that I lost that money. So it lit a fire, underneath my ass, and I wanted to learn more to conquer this industry. And it wasn't until my early 30s that I then met my next mentor through this really serendipitous, strange situation, which I'll tell you right now. And it basically came down to me being very thirsty to learn, but really not having any idea of where to find this information. And not to get too spiritual or religious, but I was kind of praying to the universe, right? God, I need some direction. Going back a little bit, I ended up deciding I wanted to be an engineer, but I just didn't like it. So all through my 20s, into my early 30s, I was playing poker. That's what I did. And I was kind of getting burnt out from poker. I wasn't enjoying it as much. Some of my decisions that I was making were like going downhill. I wasn't having a good time. And, fast forward, I'm like thinking, because I always loved investing, I always loved options, but I wasn't happy with where I was with my learning and what I was doing. And I was really trying to figure out, like, man, I know there are hedge fund managers and investment advisors and other people who are trading options that are like doing really, really well, making millions and some of the people making billions of dollars, right? So I was kind of like praying, and I was thinking to myself, where am I going to find out how to do this? So I just, thought, I had the feeling inside, just go down to the bookstore and check out, find a book to read or to buy. And this is so strange. So I ended up going down to the 3rd Street Promenade. I go into the bookstore when there used to be Barnes and Noble there. And the first book that I pick up off of the shelf, like I go through the bookstore and I make my way to the finance section, business section, and I'm looking for options books and finance books. And I see this book and I pull the book off of the shelf. This is the first book I look at, the first one I grab, and I pick the book up and I could feel that there was like it opened to a certain page, and I opened the book and there was a card in the book. There was a guy's business card in the book, and I was like, oh, that's really strange. I've never found a card in a book. So I took the card out, and it's the strangest thing, because until this point, I had never heard this term that was on this card, which was commodity trading advisor. Now, I ended up taking the card home and putting it on my desk and kind of thinking about it and like thinking to myself, I wonder, I was trying to find this information, and then I found this card, and I was like trying to like rationalize what I should do, right? Should I just throw it away? Should I reach out to the guy? And I ended up convincing myself to reach out to this guy. His name is Joe. And Joe eventually, I reached out to him and we started talking, and we became friends, and he ended up forwarding me to his mentor, Eric, who helped him with his trading career. And Eric then became my mentor and helped me with my trading career by exposing me to a world that I didn't really know existed, which was the world of commodity trading advisors, commodity pool operators, introducing brokers, futures commission merchants, and associated persons. And it's not like I didn't know what these things were. Like, I was interacting with them trading, right? Everybody is interacting with these businesses. Some people just don't really understand the hierarchy or the structure or what it quite means. And I can tell you from my experience and my learning curve to where I am today, it's a really, really, really important part of the business when you understand and you learn about these things. So again, up until that point, I had no idea what a commodity trading advisor was. And my mentor, Eric, helped me study and pass the Series 3, which is the National Futures Association, along with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. That is the national brokers test, right? If you want to trade futures or options or be a broker or do a lot of different things, you got to pass that Series 3 test. So that's sort of my story. How that story relates to what I'm doing now, well, after getting my license, after really kind of learning about these structures, I started to notice in the marketplace that, there wasn't really anybody talking about this stuff. Maybe because people just aren't interested in it, or there's just such a limited number of people doing it, because the amount of people getting the Series 3 license and going down that route in terms of being a professional in the industry, it's a lot less common than becoming like a stockbroker where you get a Series 7 license. Okay, now I saw this as a real opportunity, right? Because you're only as rich as your network, right? And there are so many talented people with great ideas and things that they can bring to the table. When we think about like people like Ray Dalio and some of these legendary hedge fund managers who are also Series 3 commodity trading advisors, it really just presents an amazing opportunity, right, to be able to educate people and show them all of the different options they have by learning and trading options. And then, furthermore, taking that high level skill and monetizing it by, becoming a professional in the industry. So that's my story. I hope it's interesting. I hope you think it's cool. Uh, it hasn't been easy. Let me tell you, nothing in life that's worth doing is easy. It's all, it all has its own required learning curve. It requires work. And you got to love what you do, right? You got to love what you do. You got to love helping people, because really that's what finance and investing and trading is really about. It's about freedom. It's about the freedom to do what you want in your life. And it's about the ability to help other people do what they want in their lives, right? So we can all help each other, right? We can all move forward to our individual goals by working together, by learning, and by applying these high level skills. So I guess that's it. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me, follow me on social media, all that good stuff. I just thought that it would be a good idea to give you a little bit more in-depth picture of myself and kind of how I ended up where I am today. So again, I thank you for listening to my story, and let's continue with our options trading journey. Okay, so I will see you in the next video.